Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes, welcome to today's episode of A Cup of Soda podcast. Is it great to be back? Yes. Um, I've been working 9 days straight. Like, I'm exhausted right now. I have the AC on, so I had to be a little closer to the mic. So sorry about that. But today's episode is about work. It's about the working class. It's about do you choose to be poor and do you choose to be rich? Obviously everybody wants to be rich. That's like the goal in life is to be rich, but can you actually achieve it that easily or possibly? Of course it's possible and on paper it's possible because obviously there's rich people, but is it achievable for everyone? No, because if there was a bunch of rich people, then we wouldn't have anything. If you think about it, society relies on poor people and people of the working class, and so it's like elite people that get to be rich or whatever. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. First I kind of want to talk about like my work and stuff like that, since I know that I've always wanted to make a video about being a dog walker, but after being a dog walker for 2 years, it's not as hyped as I once had it, you know. Um, I realized that my standards for work have gotten exponentially high. It's I go back to work. I've been back to work for a while, but I didn't get fully back into work until like about a week ago that I got thrown right back into work like if nothing happened. So, um I'm kind of trying to get back into the groove of things, and I can't believe that's how I was working. I was working so many days at a time, took barely any days off and had no money. Like 2019, I'm not gonna get super specific on the financial stuff really, but basically um I was working maybe 2 weeks, like 2 weeks straight every month. Sometimes I would work almost a month. I would have 2 days off out of the month, and that's how I was working. But I was always broke. I'm like thinking it was a lot. I literally worked my ass off before the pandemic happened. Um it was like it felt good to make my own money. Um my last two jobs, as you guys know, weren't really suited for me. I really didn't like them. As you guys know, I used to work at Popeyes and then I also worked at Wendy's, and I hated working in fast food, but I do appreciate people who stick to it. Like I literally, like every time I see someone complain, I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like you have no idea. Like fast food fucking sucks. Like working at fast food is torture. You're on your feet for hours on end. You're having to speed through everything. You're in a constant heat. Like I used to work as I used to do the fries and the basically all the sides. That's mainly what I used to do. Besides, I'm cashier, but I mainly did the sides, and I was constantly in that like heat because I had to keep all the food warm. I was in that heat for like 8 hours every day or every other day or whatever, and it was awful. And then to make minimum wage $8. So yeah, back then it was $8. Now it's 15. So lucky. I'm not even making 15 currently. Um So with work, I don't make minimum wage. I make less than minimum wage because my job relies on tips. And we don't get paid by the hour, we get paid by how many dogs we do. So our paychecks vary. And so it can be very scary if you don't have a steady income. So I would have to take a lot of dogs in order to make a good amount of money. And it could get really exhausting, especially this month. This month we've had like really bad heat waves. It's becoming 90, 95 every day. Literally I almost fainted one day because of the heat. It was really bad. But it was just exhausting. But I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm still doing this. Uh I don't know how to explain this job. So we have a boss, like, and they assign us the dogs and we have to go to them. Like, it's like Uber Eats or whatever. You go get the keys. We go to the apartment, pick up the dog or cat, whichever the heck you're doing, and take care of them and walk them. And my cat is, I don't know what he's doing, honestly. But I recently just did a sleepover, so I'm extremely tired, so don't worry about me. Where was I going with that, though? Oh, right. So we get paid $9. Well, I get paid $9, and that's because the traveling distance for me is a lot longer because I don't live in the area, so I had to travel a little further. I also do the Jersey's, like, I guess I could give Jersey City as a broad city, but I'm in that city, and Hoboken's in another town, and I have to travel to Hoboken to get to the work. Get to the work, get to the job. And it was just a lot, like, to get, like, I had to wake up every day at around 6 to 7 o'clock every day to get there by 9 or 8 o'clock, so it's a lot. And I'm on a scooter, which my scooter is like almost broken. I gotta go buy a new one, and I don't want to. But I'm a person who works their hardest to make money and to make ends meet, to pay bills and help. And that's why I was broke in 2019. I was super broke. Like, I had to ask Nelson for money for gas. I didn't even have $10 in my bank account because all my money went to bills. Which was so embarrassing because I worked almost every day. Like, I've had so many dogs, and I work from day to night. Well, not all the time, but I work day to midday. I still don't know how I did my show or my films or did anything while I was working full time. But I did it, I guess. And that's another thing. People who work hard, people who try to make ends meet, who do the most and try to do like different hustles to make more money, and they're still poor. There's people who work 3 jobs or 2 jobs or whatever to make ends meet because if you didn't know, New Jersey, you can't even live in New Jersey anymore. New Jersey thinks they're New York, and they bump up the taxes, they bump up the rent. Like, we need more rent control because the rent here is atrocious because these buildings are bad. Like, they're like, the inspections, they just get like swept under the rug. You have no idea how corrupt my old building was. My old building was pretty corrupt. Like, the management was really bad. Like, I should do a story time on that one day. I'll do one. But yeah, it was just awful times living there, and I'm so glad I moved close to my friends. But I don't I don't think people choose to be poor. Um it's there's so many circumstances that happen that makes you poor and stuff, and our society wants us to go to college. But then when we go to college, we're not guaranteed a job. I hope people know that. Like, you're not guaranteed a job just because you went to college, you know? Um they're more about experience and things like that, and which is, I guess, true, but also like, what the fuck? Like, what's the point then? You know, what's the point of going to college? But you go to college, right? Now you're stuck with the bill. Now you could be paying 43,000 more, maybe less, you know, but you still have to pay it. Now, you just got out of school, might not even have the job that you went to school for, and now you're stuck with a bill. Yeah. How in the world are you going to be rich? You know? Also, you might not even have enough money to throw it into the stock market. So, it's like, what are you gonna do? Work. Obviously, you need to work to make money. So, you gotta pick any job. Now, I hear a lot about, oh, teenagers should be only working the minimum wage. I get that. But then, everyone who's not a teenager, where are they gonna go? You're not hiring them because they either don't have a college degree or they don't have the experience. So how are they gonna get that experience? How are they gonna do this stuff? You know? Everyone's circumstances are different. Not everybody could do it the same way that maybe you can. And that's what's so frustrating, is that people don't want the minimum wage to be 15. And that's because they have a degree and make 15. And honestly, that's awful. They should be making more. If they're having to go to school, take the time and do all this extra work just so they could get to their field, they should be getting paid more. Not $15. Now, as someone who works in the minimum wage world, how it needs to be a living wage, because someone has to work in those minimum wage places. You say teenagers, but what is the teenager, like, what's the mark of getting to work? I started working at 16, right? But some places don't hire you till you're either 18 or older. So it's like not really built for teenagers. So that whole argument that it's for teenagers is complete bullshit. Also, there's school. They're in high school, right? How the fuck are they supposed to be working in, like, let's say McDonald's, right? What about morning? Who's gonna work the morning? I guess fast food is gonna be closed till the afternoon, right? Because you're gonna accommodate for the teenagers, right? That have school, because you know they're still teenagers, still in class. You know. Did you ever think about that? So yeah, it's not built for teenagers. Teenagers can't be. And also, what about the teenagers that get kicked out of their homes? The 18-year-olds or maybe even younger that get kicked out of their homes. How are they supposed to survive? And I'm not saying, oh, how are they supposed to have like this most luxury big giant apartment or house? But how are they supposed to even have a room? You know how expensive like one bedroom is? That shit's like maybe almost 2,000, like 1,500. Like, it's hard to even live below means. Like, it's so expensive to even live in the area that you're working in. And that's why we're like, we need housing specifically for people who make that minimum wage mark. I'm not saying give them the most luxury apartment, but give them a place to stay. You know? Like me, I'm planning with roommates. Like, I'm going to be with other people, so the rent can be split and it'll be easier to live. And I already have my whole plan on that, and I already have like the rain day money, paycheck money, like paycheck money, paycheck things for rent and all that stuff. I'm planning everything out to get ready for it because it's gonna be crazy. But there's people who don't have roommates or like whatever for whatever reason, right? But minimum wage, we need it for because of this stupid rent that is getting higher and higher when the buildings aren't even that good. Like you're not getting your a bang for your buck. I don't know what the terminology is for that, but you're not really getting what's it worth. And they're acting like they're New York. Where New York, I kind of understand why it's so high is because there's so many jobs and there's so many like luxury things. Kind of. I've been to New York 1,000 times. It's not all luxury. Maybe a couple of streets. Maybe Times Square is like probably the most luxury um, places. I don't know, but it's not that luxury. But I guess because you're near the luxury. But I kind of understand Hoboken because Hoboken is like right across from New York, so I understand why maybe it's expensive. But everything else, it's like, what's the big deal, you know? And so you have to like go to like you have to work in New York, but even to travel to New York, you have to pay. You have to pay for either train or toll or bus or whatever, whichever way you get in there. So you still have to like get charged just to go to work, you know? And then you have to pay for parking. And you gotta do all this bullshit. Yet $15 is too much? Like, it's. These corporations want you to be poor. They don't want you to succeed and get higher. There's only so much things you can do as a person to get higher. But I haven't even gotten to the circumstances yet. But there's just so many like little factors. A thing like the circumstances that I want to get into are the situations of families. A lot of the time it's families that kind of hold us back. Sorry, but in a good and bad way, you know. I there's no good way of being held back, but what I mean is that there's genuine reasons why, like sick family members. Obviously you can't go to school and work a full-time job and take care of your whoever, you know? It's almost impossible. There's only 24 hours in a day and you can only do so much. So people wish they can be rich. People wish they can invest in the stock market. They wish they can get that side hustle that would give them more money and things like that. But there's just no time. And maybe in the future they will. Maybe they're trying their best. But it's a lot, you know? What happens if you're going to school and then you get hit by a car, right? You're gonna be like disabled basically, and how are we going to like really like work, you know? Obviously you'll hopefully get government help, but government help can only do so much, you know? You're not gonna be rich. But like little things like that, not even little, but like life-changing things. So many things can play a factor into why you're not rich, why you're not gonna make so much money. And I'm a person who isn't very materialistic. I'm not a person who cares that much about money. I only want to make money to just make ends meet and to really just live comfortable. Like, I don't want to struggle. I'm right now my goal is to just do dog walking until I can sustain myself in the field that I'm trying to go into, and that's production and editing. I'm hoping to even become like a cinematographer or something, but that's I hope I didn't mess something up. That's why I'm going to school, which I have the luxury of being able to go to school to do, because I don't want to struggle anymore. I've worked my ass off for a while. I don't want to do this. Ooh, I had a burp. I don't want to do this forever. I never did, but I'm seeing my future more clearly, and I know that I want to become something that I love and become like even a better editor, a better cinematographer, everything, a writer. Um, so I'm working hard to make that a reality. I go to New York. I've done so much to get to where I am right now, and I can't even like show you guys. Well, I can, I guess, but I don't know if I should. But I'm doing so much behind the scenes, and it's exciting because I never thought I could do this on my own, and I have. I've gotten almost no help, like, that's besides school. I've done it all on my own. I paid for my own, like the deposit that I had to do for school. I'm paying my own loans. I'm doing it all because I'm independent. I'm learning how to become even more independent. I I'm like, I'm just trying my hardest to get to where I can work and have fun doing it and just live my life. I don't need a mansion. I don't need a big house. I'm actually, at first, when I first got this room, it was really small and I was like, eh. But after like maybe 2 months, I love this room. I love how small this room is. It's very cozy. Um, I got everything I can ever need here. I don't I don't need things. I don't need a big thing. Obviously I would love to have like one day like a mini living room in my room. Like that's a goal, I guess, but I don't really need it. It's just something like, oh my god, I hope one day, But I don't need anything, really. All I need is a roof over my head and food on the table and for my cat. But I don't need to be rich. I don't want to be rich. I feel like having too much money is just a waste because that money is just gonna be sitting there, you know. I don't need to go on yachts. I don't even like. I don't need to go to like big clubs. That reminds me, on my like the person that we're filming, he wants to take us to a rooftop bar in New York City. Sounds extremely fun. I'm totally going to take him up for it because I would not pass on a free drink. But I am living proof that you can literally come from nothing and work your way up. But there's always going to be setbacks, there's always going to be things that hold you back. And hopefully you can get to a more sustainable living. Not saying you're going to be rich, but if you can make at least to middle class, then you've made it. Another thing, this is gonna be my last topic, but I'm gonna talk about homeless people, and even veterans, because that kind of like go hands in hand. Because there's veterans that end up homeless, and it's extremely confusing. But at the same time, not, because I don't have any real faith in the government that much. They're very stingy and greedy and all whatever. I'm not surprised that they don't care about their soldiers as much as they say they do. They try to glamorize being in the army, like you're gonna have all these benefits, you're gonna get to go to school, you're gonna get all this money. Yeah, but they don't tell you all the PTSD, all the drugs you're gonna have to take just to calm your PTSD. And also all the like, you're still not gonna be making that much money. And also, school, you may or not may be able to qualify, or whatever the reasons are. And I can speak from experience. Not obviously, I never been to the army, but my father has. Um, he takes a lot of medication for his PTSD because he had to go to war. He went to Afghanistan. His car flipped over and everything. Like I don't remember what hit him, but a car flipped over and he got shot in the head. Luckily, he had a helmet on, so it didn't like kill him. But he has PTSD, and he takes a bunch of pills. Is it worth it? Fuck no. He also still has to work another job just to make ends meet. Which, where I come into play, I've been working since I was like 2. You know, I've been a mechanic, and he was a mechanic, and he had to do that on the side to make extra money because guess what? The army doesn't give you that much. And most people regret going to the army. Not saying everybody, some people love the army. Some people want to fight for this country, and for them, amen. You know, you're much braver than I am because I've already seen the aftermath of the army, and I know I would never want to go. This country, just because we're quote unquote the land of the free, doesn't mean we're free. And honestly, we still have to like sign once we're 18. We still have to sign for just in case something happens. We have to be forced into battle. Thank God I have asthma and freaking I have hypoglycemia, or is it hypo? I don't know. Nelson could tell me because like I don't know the difference. But basically, I suffer from low blood sugar. I basically get like if I don't have any sugar in my system, I literally will crash and probably pass out. And with my asthma and stuff like that, so hopefully that means they won't take me. And also have like bad anxiety and heart problem kind of thing. Like that's where also my anxiety comes from like my nerves. But anyway, so I hope they don't have to get drafted. But anyway, this country doesn't care for its veterans, and there's a lot of homeless people that are veterans because they can't make ends meet. They come back too fucked up, and they can't even work because of how messed up they are. And do they give them luxury homes for it? No. Do they do really anything for them? Not sure. And just another thing is that there's another thing about homeless people. And that's coming from people that are homeless and call out the other homeless people. There's some homeless people who choose to be homeless. And it's a confusing thing. Like, I don't understand. Why would you want to be homeless? Some people are homeless because of circumstance. They got kicked out. Or their house burned down or something. You know? So the people who like have actual reasons of being homeless and things like that, I'm glad that there are shelters and things that can help and also give them jobs. And that's the beauty of humanity sometimes, is that there are people who help the homeless, who give them jobs. You know, it's just we need better pay or just lower rent. Stop making it so hard for people to live. There's going to be more and more homeless people if you make that rent so unmanageable. How is anyone supposed to buy? Only rich people could live here? That's basically what it is. At one point I'm like, do I have to move somewhere else? Do I have to like leave the state? But then I'm like, but I want to work in the entertainment industry. In New York and California are like the big entertainment where you're gonna get money. And I want to go all the way to California because I hate the heat. Like, I literally am dying in New Jersey with the heat. I cannot deal with California heat. So, it just sucks, you know. But I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope you guys kind of understand where I'm going with this. Understand my views on things, and just kind of like see how corrupt just the U.S. is. Like, you can't even live where you work, basically. But anyways, I'll see you guys in another podcast, and Kazoon tight.